There is a saying that you shouldn't go back to your ex. Real Madrid have decided to go back to their ex, or is it the Mourinho that went back to his ex, or is it Real Madrid that went back to the ex? Who went back to who, self? Tell me, who went back to the ex? Is it Real Madrid that went back to Mourinho, or Mourinho came back to Real Madrid? Because the report came out that it's official, Mourinho is coming back to Real Madrid on a 2-year deal. He has an option to extend. But Mourinho is coming back to Real Madrid this summer, or next, this summer, yeah. So, what do you have to say about that?
Yeah,
I
think it's.
Sorry for this. Sorry for interfering. When Ancelotti came back, I was like, will Ancelotti succeed? Because, like I said now, you shouldn't go back to your ex. Will Ancelotti succeed? Well, Ancelotti ended up succeeding because he won La Liga, I think, twice. He won the Champions League twice. His first tenure, he won the Champions League once. His second tenure, he won the Champions League, I think, twice. And now, you guys have gone back to Mourinho. What do you think is the reason behind Real Madrid going back to Mourinho? Because I can remember that Mourinho and the players of Real Madrid in 2013, that's if I'm not mistaken, 2013, there was a fallout between Mourinho and the players, and Mourinho had to leave. So now, what's the reason behind Florentino Perez going back to Jose Mourinho? What do you have to say about that? Are you happy with the deal? First question: are you happy with the deal that Mourinho is coming back?
You see, first things first. You see this issue about X. I think you mentioned something recently that Carlo Ancelotti have left and came back.
Yeah.
So I don't think football clubs have this clause that maybe some in some scenarios they do have that, but I don't think the separation that we had with Mourinho was the one that would say, okay, in the future you are not coming back or something. I see. You see the entire football world is just like a politics.
Yeah.
It's just like normal politics, where you see today this one is in APC, tomorrow he has switched back to PDP, and stuffs like that. So that is how football too is. I'm not saying that politics is involved with football, but that is how football too is.
Okay.
So and again, if you can remember, there was this incident that happened some months ago when we were playing Benfica in the Champions League.
Yeah.
For the playoffs, when Cristiani
but that was the round of 16, not was it the playoffs? Yeah, it's playoffs, yeah.
Yes, playoffs. So when Cristiani kind of allegedly racially abused Vinicius Jr. and something like stuff like that, and Mourinho, stood in defense of his players or in defense of the Benfica players and Cristiani, and after that people were saying, okay, the relationship, there was a kind of a little relationship between Madrid and Mourinho, and now the relationship is over. They have closed the doors. He's no longer coming to Madrid, blah, 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 stuff like that. And when I saw that, I just kept quiet. I didn't even want to comment on it because I know in football, it's never say never. Sometimes you just talk, it's just media and all. So, and then another thing again, on my part, being happy or being, excited about Mourinho is that I've always maintained this thing that I'm not the management. I'm just a Madrid fan. And for me to enjoy my club, I have my opinions and I back the management. And at the same time, any manager that they bring to the team, regardless of how I don't like the manager, in the end, I want the success of the club, so I'm going to back the manager. That is exactly, when Alonso came in, I was not fully into Alonso. But when he came in, I was fully with him because he's now the Madrid manager. So with Abelua, when Alonso was sacked, I said, okay, fine. Alonso is gone now, so let's deal with Abelua. Abelua is the manager. Let's throw our weight. Let's throw our support at his back. So as the same thing with Mourinho. And then now that Mourinho is here, I think he's going to assume his role after our last match with the last La Liga match with Athletic Bilbao. I think the date is 1st July 2026. That's when he's going to officially assume his role. So, and my own take here is that It's just, it's just like this saying that you have a class in a secondary school. In a secondary school, you have the management, that's the principal and all the teachers and all. And then you have the class where you have the form teacher in the class. So you have a form teacher that the students, you have a stubborn class. For it, let me use that word. You have a stubborn class that has chased out two form teachers, that has made the management to sack two teachers from the class as their form teachers.
Yeah.
So now the management now, because they sat down and weighed the situation, and they saw that there is a kind of, there's this kind of looking down situation in the because the students are looking down on the teachers that have been brought in to be their form teachers. So the management now decided that, okay, let's bring in somebody that these students were not going to look down on, somebody more disciplined, somebody who has a lot more track record, somebody who has, the charisma, the ego, somebody who can, like one Madrid fan used to say, somebody who can out ego the team.
Okay, I know that guy. I know that
So
Portuguese guy. I know that Portuguese guy on TikTok.
yeah.
Yeah.
So he said you cannot out ego Mourinho. So
Yeah.
so somebody who can out ego the players in the team. So I think that was the that's the angle that they looked at, and they decided that, okay, the best person. And yeah, we are all aware now that in the coach market we don't have too many coaches like that in the coach
Yeah.
market now.
No,
So
let's say we have many coaches, but we don't have many top
we have
managers.
we don't have
We don't have
many
many
top
top managers.
managers.
But another thing I want to
Uh-huh.
ask is another thing I want to say is that there's this saying that a lot of people say this thing that Mourinho is finished. I know you've heard it
Yes.
before that Mourinho is finished.
Yeah.
So what's making Real Madrid feel that bringing Mourinho back, Mourinho is going to what's making them feel that they are bringing the old Mourinho? Because the old Mourinho, everybody knows that the old Mourinho that time was success. Anytime you bring in Mourinho, he wins things with you. But now there's this saying that Mourinho is finished, that because he was sacked at Tottenham, sacked at where again? Where was he sacked?
You see, the thing is that let me.
Okay. I can't remember. I know that, but I know that he was.
Yeah.
He left Tottenham. I can't remember the other teams, but I know that from
Roma.
Okay, yeah, Roma. He won the Conference League with Roma, but he was sacked after that. So now,
yes,
what's making Real Madrid feel that bringing Mourinho is going to change a lot of things? Because there's this saying that Mourinho is finished. Well, do you believe that Mourinho is finished? And do you think that this Mourinho can still do what he did in the past with these Real Madrid players?
This issue of saying a coach is finished or something, I think it has a lot to do with sentiment rather than facts. It has to do a lot with sentiment rather than fact. It is a well-known fact out there that so many people don't like Mourinho. So many people, especially in England, the English pundits and all, they don't like Mourinho. I don't know their reasons, but they don't like him. So, and maybe because he's an outspoken person and other stuffs like that. But I don't know the reason, preferably. But they don't like him.
But even in Turkey, they ganged up against him in Turkey. I just remember that he coached the team in Turkey.
So even in Tottenham, I think if you can recall, some of the reasons why he left Tottenham were some issues that has to do with him and the management. I don't think they were on-field decisions that made him to leave Tottenham. Then if you look at Roma again, he won the Conference League. I think the following season, he went to the Europa League final.
Yeah. He lost to Sevilla.
I didn't win the Europa League finals, yes. So, like, you can't call that person finished. And if you look at his recent record, since when he took over, do you know that Benfica, since when he took over, they have not lost any game till the ending of this season? They have not lost any game till the ending of this season.
In the league, yeah.
Yeah, in the league, yeah. I'm talking about the league. It's either they win or they draw. So he's practically unbeaten in the league, in the Portuguese league. And I think even the Benfica, they wanted to even offer him a new contract. The Benfica management wanted to even offer him a new contract, but Madrid came in and all that stuff like that. So I don't think in the real-time sense that Mourinho is finished. It's just the normal sentiment that flies around that so person is finished, so person is finished. It's just like Alonso. When Madrid sacked him, when he was brought into Madrid, so many Madrid fans don't like him. I personally know so many Madrid fans that don't like him. And any small mistake, you see them saying that, okay, no, we are not doing this. Madrid is not a team known for playing position football. You should let's go back to our basics and everything. And so many of them jubilated when you were sacked. That, okay, finally we are now going back to our normal football, contain and counter. Vinicius is going to do everything for us. Even Mbappe has spoiled the team and everything, blah blah blah. And look where we are today. Look where we ended up at the end of the season. So me, I just and some people even concluded that Alonso is finished. He's not going to get, after him being sacked from Madrid, he's not going to get any big job. And I just kept quiet. I didn't even say anything. I just kept, because I know if he's not going to Liverpool, then he's definitely going to Chelsea or another club in the Premier League is going to snatch him. Another
I'm
top
not
club,
happy that
maybe
I'm not
Man
happy that
City might.
Alonso. I'm not happy
Maybe
that Alonso signed for Chelsea. But I'm not happy that he signed for Chelsea.
Even me, I'm not happy.
I don't
See,
feel
really,
Chelsea.
I'm not happy.
I don't feel Chelsea is a good team for him.
But for his career, I don't think Chelsea is going to achieve what he wants. Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I don't think he's going to
Chelsea
do
to me is not a
what he
good team
really
for
wants,
Alonso.
because that Chelsea is a ticking time bomb. Chelsea is a
Yes.
ticking time bomb. It's a ticking time bomb, that team. So, but we just have to wait and see. So to me, I don't feel like any manager, a manager of the caliber of, let's say, Jurgen Klopp, Mourinho, Pep Guardiola, Carlo Ancelotti, these kind of managers, they all have their different, styles and tactics. So I
Yeah.
don't think anybody is going to do justice to them if you say that they are finished. I don't think you are going to do any justice to them, because whether you like it or not, and then if you look at the reason why Madrid decides to bring him, they are not bringing him in. One of the major reasons, if you can put in arrange everything in order, one of the major reasons why they're trying to bring him in is to bring back. It's not even about our general performance. It's the mentality. They want the mentality back. It's as if our players don't even know how to fight anymore. Instead of them to fight on the pitch and win, they are now fighting themselves. I don't know if you understand. They are now fighting themselves. I could remember. I was in under Mourinho, so I can't remember the coach actually, when he was, they were doing during training. Then suddenly, this kind of training bust ups now that it will result to altercations and everything like that. So,
Yeah.
and then the coach called them to order. He called them and was like, if you want to fight here, keep this your fight. Wait until we go and play. Well, wait until we are playing this match. Then you fight the opponent. I think it was Mourinho. They fight among yourselves. Fight the opponent. So, and that is how it's supposed to be, not for you to, fight. So, I think the major reason why they are bringing him is to bring back that mentality, to bring back that mentality amongst the players, to bring in that mentality, and then also to bring in, like, to put in the hard decisions, to make those hard decisions on the pitch. For example, if Abelua now decides to bench Mbappe, Mbappe will come out during post-match conference and start saying that he's the fourth striker, he's this, he's that, he doesn't regard Abelua. Some people wanted, they were playing good football at the beginning of the season, and now everything has gone away, blah, blah, blah. But if it was Mourinho that decides to bench Mbappe and he said something like that, I'm telling you, Mourinho will drop him for the next 4 games. And nothing is going to happen. Nothing. Because what? Because of the caliber of the person, the match. I don't know. I think you understand where I'm heading to.
Yeah.
So the same thing goes to Vinicius and any other person on the pitch. Madrid has been so bad to the extent that Carreras, Asensio, these are players that have just been first team players for the first time in their life. Sorry, in Madrid. Carreras, Asensio, they are fighting, or they are they are verbally abusing, or they are exchanging words with the manager. If the Madrid has gone to that extent that a player that has just been promoted from Castilla is getting vexed up with the coach, that is saying the coach, he doesn't like him, he doesn't want to put him. Like, how in this Madrid? I don't know. So that is a very, very big problem. So if you see this from this kind of players, then what do you expect from the likes of Vinicius, Bellingham, Valverde, and co? So that is a major problem, and that was what led to us, going trophyless and all. So to me, I feel like the major reason why Mourinho is in this team is to bring back the sanity in the dressing room. That's one. Yes, we know that Mourinho also has his own issues.
Yeah,
Sometimes he
that's what I
tends to
wanted to
pitch
say.
into
He
players to
has
fight among themselves.
almost every club. He loses the dressing room in his third
But
season.
yeah, but if you look at most of the times, it doesn't happen in his first season. It happens maybe when he overstays in the team, maybe his second or his third season,
Yeah.
and something like that. So I think this is first season. He's going to try to prove so many people wrong. For example, people that are saying he's finished, he want to show them that I'm not finished. And remember, up to now, the record that Mourinho has in La Liga has not been broken yet. The 100 points record and the over 100 goals, I think
No, no,
120
no, no.
goals
100
record
points.
that he
100
put.
points was broken. 100 points was broken.
100 points.
Yeah, it was
When?
broken
That was when?
by Tito Villanova, late Tito.
Okay, okay. So
Yeah.
maybe I think it's the goals that has not been broken. I think 121 goals that he scored in that one season like that. So like he's back, for so many reasons, and I believe so many things are going, and especially given now that we see that the transfers is going to have a say in the transfers, just like the way Alonso had says in the transfers. So he's going to
But
have says in the
but they
transfers,
said
outgoing and incoming
Mourinho
and everything.
agreed to all conditions given to him by Florentino Perez. Don't you see it as a desperate move?
No, if you look at it, I think if you are going to say that it's a desperate move, it's a desperate move between both parties. Mourinho wants to come to Madrid. He wants to show himself to the world that I'm not finished, that I can still coach a big team and all that.
Yeah.
And at the same time, the management too want to recuse itself. You know, every day they keep on, spewing out this thing that they made a mistake signing Alonso in the first place. They could have sacked him from the very first second week that he was in the team. I saw that a lot, but I think much of it is just propaganda and excuse. They are just trying to cover up their asses and everything. And from what Florentino Perez said in the press conference he made some days back, you will see that Florentino Perez, under like the management, is having huge pressure. There's a huge pressure on him, from both the top, Madridistas, the elites who are voting for the president and everything. There's this kind of external pressure coming in that he's not doing his job well, that he's not managing the football team well. Now 2 seasons without a trophy, blah blah blah. So Florentino Perez desperately needs something, whether it's a quick fix, whether it's a long time fix. He needs something desperately that he will hang on to. So, and that is why he decided that, okay, let me bring in somebody more experienced. Do you know that before this day, apart from Jurgen Klopp and Mourinho, to show you how desperate Madrid were, they even made contact with Scaloni, Argentina coach.
Argentina coach.
Yes, they made contact with Argentina coach. So, like, just to tell you how desperate these guys are, they are looking for people that, okay, Argentina coach won the World Cup, and he's having a good team. Maybe he knows he was able to manage the Messi and co, blah 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 blah, and stuffs like that. So maybe that was what made them to. And one of the biggest problems that we have in Madrid, which Florentino Perez is trying to fix for next season,
Mm.
was Madrid never had a sporting director. We don't have a sporting director.
Okay.
So he's trying to, I think he's trying to make that change. He's trying to bring in a sporting director, somebody who will be in charge of scouting, generally scouting the players, bringing in, most of the players that we bring in to the team are based on, our legends. Roberto
Okay.
Carlos will say, okay, Hendrik is good. Roberto Carlos will say, okay, Hendrik is good. Madrid will go and scout him and they'll bring him. Solari will say, okay, Master Antonio is good. They'll bring Master Antonio. This one will say, okay, Figo will say, okay, this guy is good. They'll bring him. So that is how we do normally. So, but now they want to have, a director of football where his sole focus will be on, the sporting decisions of the club, like the managers, scouting for managers, scouting for, and again, and another thing again, apart, in those deals that I think Mourinho accepted was earlier on. Mourinho had this thing that he's coming with his team, he's coming with his medical directors, he's coming
Yeah,
with his,
coaching crew. Yeah.
nutritionist,
Okay,
everything.
four of his
So, and
four
Madrid has maintained
staff. Yeah.
Madrid, yeah, Madrid has strictly maintained that they want they want the manager to retain Antonio Pintus as the fitness, as the fitness coach. So, and I think that was, in fact, that was even the beginning of the problems for Xabi Alonso, because when Xabi Alonso came in, he relegated Antonio Pintus to just being a supervisor. He
Okay.
was just a supervisor. He was not actively participating in the fitness and everything. He was not the one training the players, trying to bringing up their fitness and everything. So, and then towards close to when they sacked Alonso, they had to now force Alonso to accept Antonio Pintus back as the top, fitness coach.
Yeah,
So,
I'm
and I
just
think,
reading it. I'm just
I don't know
reading it
what is
now
between
that
Florentino Perez and Pintus, but
I said I'm just reading it now that Jose Mourinho will keep Antonio Pintus in his coaching staff at Real Madrid.
so so I think it's one of the reasons, it's one of the things why they said he has agreed to some of the conditions, or most of the conditions that was put in, to him. So I think that's just it. So I believe it's going to be. I won't say anything more apart from saying that, okay, I wish him well, because I don't think it's going to be easy for him. I don't think it's going to be easy for him. We have the players, but to bring in that mentality, to bring back the mentality to these players is the problem. So, and I believe he can do it, and we're going to watch him as he's going to do it. That's just what I can say.
Okay, Hamisu, thank you very much for joining me. Wish Jose Mourinho all the best. I just want to see how he's going to handle
Yeah,
Mbappe and what's it called, and Vinicius, because the indiscipline at Real Madrid is too much. I just want to see the way you handle that Mbappe.
too much.
It's too much.
Not just them, not just them. Too many players are very disciplined. That
Okay, now see you
yes,
later.
yeah. Thank you.